My brothers and sisters of Africa, listen to me. The world is watching us with disbelief, because in Burkina Faso, we are building giant ships from what they once called trash, from bottles they threw into our rivers, from the waste they left behind when they took our gold, our cotton, our dignity. But today, Africa is rising, not with their iron, not with their permission, but with our own hands, our own fire, our own faith. They said, "You cannot build without us." They said, "You need our technology, our factories, our steel." And I said to them, "No, we do not need your chains disguised as help. We do not need your aid that poisons the soul. Because Africa has never lacked strength. Africa has only been denied belief. Look at the rivers of Burkina Faso today. Look closely! You will see our people, our youth, our women joining hands, turning plastic bottles, yes, bottles, into ships that float upon the same waters they once polluted. You see, they gave us their garbage, and we turned it into greatness. They threw away what they thought was useless, and we made it powerful. Because in Africa, even waste becomes gold when touched by the hands of a determined people. Do you understand what this means? It means we have broken the spell that made us think progress can only come from Europe or America. It means we no longer wait for blueprints from Paris or Washington. We no longer wait for their investments to define our worth. We are defining it ourselves, bottle by bottle, ship by ship, dream by dream. They thought we would drown in their pollution, but we are sailing on it. They thought we would beg for iron, but we have built from plastic. They thought we would depend forever, but we have created independence with our creativity. That is the new Africa I speak of, an Africa that does not copy but creates, that does not borrow but builds. Let them laugh if they want. Let them mock us as they did when we built wooden motorcycles and wooden helicopters. They laughed then, but they are not laughing now. Because from the laughter of the arrogant, revolutions are born. Every bottle ship we launch is not just a vessel. It is a declaration of defiance, a message to every colonizer of the mind: your time is over. When these ships made of bottles sail across our rivers, they will carry more than goods. They will carry pride. They will carry the voice of a continent that refused to kneel. They will carry the dreams of every African child who was told, "You can't." And from these waters the world will hear us shout, "We can. We did. We will again." My people, this is not about recycling. This is about rebirth. This is about turning the pain of our past into the power of our future. Every bottle we use represents a story of a people who refuse to give up, who refuse to be buried by poverty, who refuse to let history end their hope. The world will ask, why bottles? And I will say, because we use what we have, because we believe that the strength of Africa does not come from material, it comes from the mind, from the spirit, from the unity of her people. Africa does not need to be saved. Africa needs to be believed in, and we, her sons and daughters, must be the first to believe, because no empire, no system, no power can stop a people who have decided to believe in themselves. So I say this to every African nation, from the Nile to the Congo, from the Sahara to the Cape: unite. Unite in vision, in courage, in creation. Let us build together. Let us rise together. Let us stop waiting for the world to open its doors. We will build our own gates, and we will walk through them proudly. When our ships made from bottles cross the waters, the world will remember that Africa is not the land of pity. It is the land of potential. They will see that from the same rivers they polluted, a new revolution has sailed. And they will whisper, how did they do it? And I will tell them, we believed. We believed in our soil. We believed in our people. We believed in Africa. Long live Burkina Faso. Long live Africa. And may our ships of freedom sail forever. The first main point is the declaration of African self-reliance. Ibrahim Traoré makes it clear that Africa no longer needs to depend on foreign nations for progress or validation. He rejects the mindset that power and innovation come only from the West. His words symbolize a break from the chains of dependency, showing that Africa has the creativity and intelligence to build its own path. The act of turning waste bottles into river ships is more than innovation. It is a statement of freedom. It shows that Africa can transform anything, even the discarded materials of others, into something powerful. Traoré's tone challenges the old narrative that Africans must wait for others to lead. Instead, he says, Africa will lead itself using the resources and talents already in its hands. This self-reliance is not just economic, it is psychological, cultural, and spiritual. It tells the world that the age of dependence is over. The second main point is the transformation of waste into power. The image of turning plastic bottles into ships is deeply symbolic. It represents how Africa can take the very things that once symbolized destruction, pollution, exploitation, and neglect, and turn them into vehicles of progress. Traore shows that African innovation is rooted not in imitation, but in imagination. Every bottle that floats in the river becomes a metaphor for rebirth, for resistance, for pride. It teaches that progress is not about wealth or technology alone, but about vision and determination. By transforming waste into strength, the people of Burkina Faso are rewriting the story of Africa. They are proving that nothing is useless in the hands of those who believe in themselves. The trash once left behind by outsiders now becomes a foundation of liberation. The third main point is defiance against colonial arrogance and mental slavery. Traore's speech challenges the world that has long mocked and underestimated Africa. He reminds his people that those who laughed at their wooden motorcycles and helicopters will one day watch in awe as bottle ships sail their rivers. This defiance is not born from hatred but from dignity. It is a refusal to be looked down upon. By building ships from bottles, Africans are proving that progress cannot be defined by Western standards. Every invention, no matter how simple, carries the power to break the colonial mentality that says Africans cannot create. The mockery of outsiders becomes fuel for invention. Traore's message transforms humiliation into motivation, turning centuries of exploitation into a burning desire for self-respect and self-worth. This defiance restores African confidence and reclaims pride from the ruins of oppression. The fourth main point is unity and collective strength. Traore emphasizes that true independence cannot be achieved alone. He calls for Africans from all nations to rise together, beyond borders, languages, and religions. The building of bottle ships becomes a metaphor for unity, where every hand, every bottle, every effort adds strength to the structure. He reminds his people that division was the greatest tool used against Africa by foreign powers. The only way forward is together. Unity in purpose and vision turns small actions into great movements. It is not just governments or armies that will lift Africa, but ordinary people working side by side. When youth, engineers, villagers, and dreamers come together, the impossible becomes possible. Traore's call for unity is not just political. It is emotional and spiritual, reminding Africa that the greatest power is found in collective will. The fifth main point is the rebirth of African pride and identity. Traore's message is not only about ships or recycling. It is about awakening the spirit of a continent. The ships made of bottles represent more than an invention. They symbolize a new African mindset that refuses to be ashamed of simplicity or tradition. He redefines what it means to be modern, not through imitation of the West, but through pride in what Africa already possesses. Every floating ship becomes a symbol of renewal, of rivers flowing again with freedom and hope. He envisions a future where African children look at these ships and see possibility instead of limitation. It is a spiritual rebirth, a revolution of the mind that tells Africans, you are not broken, you are becoming. This message of pride and awakening marks the beginning of a new era, an Africa that builds, believes, and stands tall once again.